You know, that was the thing, an older man and his younger ward jumping into a bookshelf and sliding down a pole, and they got naked somewhere in the crawl space because they come down wearing their leotards.
And you notice it sometimes took them a while to come down.
It really did. And Alfred just turned a blind eye. You know, I'm just saying that campy 66 Batman, there was something going on there.
It's time to polish the poles again.
Robin, old chum, I believe it's time to take off our shirts and wrestle.
But first, why don't you tilt Shakespeare's head so we can go down the shaft?
Man, the B-roll. This is going to scare people away from the actual
the B-roll
podcast.
should be the podcast. we're gonna do guitars next time, kids.
But this time, it's all about sliding down the pole and polishing it up on the way down to our special cave.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Rock and Roll, the podcast, episode 21. Featuring Dr. Nick Redbone, Tom Nelson, and me,
Broc Johnson.
Today's show is brought to you by
Power Plant, car and truck accessories in Twin Falls on Kimberly Road. Guys, wouldn't it be nice to go out in the morning in these cold winter mornings and get into a nice toasty car with a remote car start that you got installed from the Power Plant.
Look at that product placement, the whole 9 yards. That was fantastic.
I'm done.
We should
I'm
work
out.
on product placement. We should start bringing stuff from the Power Plant and incorporating it into the show.
And just like sometimes it's sitting in the background. Sometimes one of us is just holding it while we're talking about a different topic.
Caressing it.
Okay, gotcha.
Is that weird?
What, caressing?
Oh, you could caress it.
I think so. Why not?
Everything
Don't judge
from
me.
car audio decks to DVD players that you hang on the back of the seat.
I'm uncomfortable watching. The old guy was polishing his deck.
Again.
And we're out.
And that was episode 21. Welcome to episode 21.
21.
Of
it actually sounds like a podcast and not something that was recorded in a public restroom.
Our apologies for last week. What happened was new laptop and software that you and I both know fairly well. We've had, all three of us have had to use. It's Adobe Audition 1.5. The classic.
Love it.
And it's sadly a mistake that we've all made about 20 times.
Every time.
It never fails. The first time it's on it, because the laptop that we had been using, my son kindly blew up playing video games, and so I had to get a new one.
Yeah.
And this one I hadn't had plugged into an interface, and it's Windows 10. It's the first laptop that I've used because I don't like Windows 10, but I gotta learn it.
Right.
7 is going out, and so apologies for the.
But and wait for the update in 3, 2, 1.
Now nothing works.
But
we are back, and we are very happy to have the Power Plant on board. Of course, the first time we have Power Plant on and the audio is garbage.
Sorry,
we
Blaine.
apologize.
The irony there is so thick.
Remember, Power Plant, the best Blaine you'll ever Blaine.
He's an audio guy too. Sorry, Blaine.
Yeah, sorry, Blaine. So this episode, we did drummers last week. This episode, we go to we're going to kind of stay in the lineup kind of vibe for a while. Today, we're talking guitar players, and the thing is, this is redemption for 12. Because 12 started out, it was Guitar Heroes, remember? And I set the parameters so tight, and so you guys just looked at me like, what the hell are you talking about?
And to be fair, that's probably what's going to happen a lot here because I'm not a guitar player.
Yeah.
I know good guitar players that I like.
Well, and that's all that matters. That's all that matters.
Okay. That's true.
Because Tommy and I aren't drummers, and last week, if you could hear it, we did a hell of an episode.
It was a really good episode.
It was a really good episode if you can hear it. Also, we'd like to apologize for the giant Muppet voices that you can hear bleeding into the background from time to time. We have, on the Muppet Show, the big monsters that were clearly like one or two guys inside a suit. We have two of those that work upstairs.
One of them very loud.
Really so loud.
I think he's gone right now.
So loud. Okay. Well, then when you hear the sound,
he's here.
When you hear the sound that sounds like the Hamburglar, robble, 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 that's one of our coworkers. So but we apologize for that. With these microphones, it should be a little easier to block out the Muppets and the McDonald's cartoon characters.
The Muppets literally took over the podcast.
Yeah,
last week.
towards the end of the episode, it's really bad.
You can see the insulation move sometimes over here. I'll be like, are we having an earthquake?
Nope, just a Muppet insurgence.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, insurgency, the word of the week. So guitar players, the backbone instrument, I think we all agree, of rock and roll. I mean, from the very inception of rock and roll, guitar was the driving force. I mean, I think
rock and roll made the guitar cool.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Before then, the guitar was just another instrument. I mean, it was really actually sort of disrespected in like the classical orchestras. You didn't see parts for guitar, right?
Yep.
There were some jazz guitar players, but the horns were king, in the big show tunes and whatnot. It was still strings and horns and woodwinds. The guitar was, that's the thing that, the country guys will sit around and play and sing songs to each other.
Or the folkies.
Or the folkies, right. But then you get the explosion of rock and roll.
You plugged it in.
That was it. Wow. That was it, man. The electric guitar. One of my favorite guitar solos is on one of the first probably 5 rock and roll songs ever. The guitar solo to Rock Around the Clock is still one of my very favorites ever. I mean, it's not, it sounds a little archaic tone-wise, but he's playing his ass off. That's a fast guitar solo. Yeah. And it's around that time that the guitar player starts, not only is he driving, but now he's not just one of the faceless guys in the background. Because that would happen
unless he's in Ghost.
Unless he's in Ghost, and they are all
he's a nameless ghoul.
They're nameless ghouls, except for Pope. What's his name? Whoever the Pope is.
Paparitas.
Yeah, and I think they rotate that guy out. I think a new guy gets to be Pope.
Maybe now, but I fell down the Ghost rabbit hole not too long ago about the stories that had surfaced back in like 2015, 2016 about how the band was pissed because Paparitas or
Papa Emeritus.
Yeah, wasn't paying the band, and they were actually they were on the road playing in a famous band, but they were that actually happened. He's an asshole.
Okay.
Yeah. So and those guys all quit. Now there's new nameless ghouls, and so the nameless ghouls rotate. But
but the Pope stays the Pope.
Papa Colonel Sanders
kind of sounds like you've been ghosting Ghost, Broc.
Hey,
sorry about that.
That dad joke brought to you by the Power Plant on Kimberly Road in Twin Falls, Idaho. Remember, if you're in Greece, Google search them. Maybe they'll take your drachma.
Powerplantweb.com.
You found it.
I did.
Look at you.
I put it all over the last podcast.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Power Plant.
Power Plant. Is that a new jingle?
Maybe. I had a guitar.
Like the other one better.
This morning I had it. You want to do the other one?
Yeah.
Power plant, power plant,
this
power plant,
stop.
Power plant.
It can't begin this early.
Really?
Really?
But they're a good sponsor. They're the only sponsor.
Which is why they deserve a better jingle.
Okay, well, next time I'll bring down a guitar. I know it'll get better then.
That is solid, though.
Back on guitar. It is pretty solid. Back on guitar. The electric guitar is, it becomes kind of a cultural thing, too, when the self-contained rock band first becomes a thing. And that's the Beatles, right?
Right.
The Beatles on Ed Sullivan probably sold a zillion guitars. I think that's a real number.
Yep.
A gazillion? A zillion?
A zillion. Yeah.
It's huge.
I mean, because it was suddenly, there aren't horns there. And there's a little bit of piano, but there isn't strings there. It's just guys with these jangly guitars, and they're writing their own songs. And I've even heard that the psychology of the guitar, and I don't know, and because I'm a guitar player, I mean, full disclosure, some of this I have to roll my eyes at, but then quietly I maybe have to admit it.
I think I know where you're going.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
The psychology of the guitar is that it is a phallic symbol.
Yes.
That the guitar
is a penis?
Is a big giant dong.
Wang.
Yeah, dong, wang, joystick, pud, wiener. Dick.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense, though.
Yeah.
It's like it's the manliest part of the band.
Right, and it sticks out. It's pointy. You know what I mean? You can point with it. You can gesture with it. You can move it up and down. You can shake it.
And you're playing the crap out of it.
And you're playing the crap out of it.
What is happening?
It's okay.
Feels like 12. Do you feel that? Feels a little 12-y in here.
No?
Yeah, what is that? What does that smell? Or is it 18?
It's a Muppet.
It's a Muppet. I mean...
Who is also kind of phallic.
I don't want to talk about that ever again. That made me feel icky in my own pants. So the guitar has been around as long as rock and roll has been around. And like we said kind of last week, the guitar player tends to be immediate second fiddle to the lead singer, just by the sheer way that it's built. But from time to time, the guitar player can be such a huge deal that he eclipses.
He's the bigger deal.
Yeah, that he eclipses the other people in the band. A guy that I would think, as far as eventually, the Mount Rushmore of guitar players is going to have to kind of be mentioned, and a guy that's on there for sure. We just lost him in 2020, and I think he eclipsed everybody that was ever in his band, Eddie Van Halen. Yeah. King Edward changed everything. He was like Hendrix. They changed the way the guitar sounded forever. When Hendrix came along, if Hendrix hadn't happened, everyone would sound like Pete Townsend and Eric Clapton. Then Hendrix happens, and it's like everybody starts playing in color as opposed to black and white. Then Eddie Van Halen comes along and takes everything that Hendrix did and turns it up and plays it faster and crazier.
The tapping on Eruption, just everyone knows that.
Yeah. And now think about, I wasn't around. You were a kid in the 70s, as we've covered.
1970s.
Right. not the 1870s, kids.
Lincoln was a very cool president.
When Eruption first came out, Van Halen 1, Eruption, that solo lands on the first Van Halen album, 1978. Okay, 77 or 78. Now, did you know when you heard it the first time that you were hearing something completely new, completely earth-shattering?
I don't know about that, but I knew I'd never heard it before. So I guess in a way, yes. The answer is yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd never heard anything like that. I didn't know about the impact it was going to have. I just thought, in fact, it was in jazz band rehearsal. This guy brought in the first Van Halen album, right? Threw it on the turntable. And everyone's just salivating, and it's just like, we have not heard anything like this before. It was just cool as hell.
Yeah, he took techniques and he changed things. The finger tapping that you mentioned. I mean, there have been people that have sort of tapped the neck here or there, but nobody had made the actual act of the whole thing tapping and moving scales up and down the neck. Every once in a while, you'd hit a note, bend it, and tap it, but not playing the whole thing with your when he first started doing it, he would turn his back on the audience so they couldn't see what he was doing. Because
he didn't want them to know, or what?
He didn't want anybody to steal his technique because he was before he was signed, he was just another guy playing on the beach.
I think I was like a lot of guys. I had never heard that before. Never had ever heard that before.
What's happening?
How did he go from? I heard noise from over here.
What?
And then he entered stage left.
Okay, so
there's a whole room back there.
Okay, so we have insurrections in the Capitol, and now we're having an insurrection in our podcast. I don't understand what just happened. Power plant.
Power plant. Power plant. Power plant.
Did you say erection?
Oh, God.
We're trying to veer towards the 12.
Do you remember when I said 12 and you said no, we're not there yet?
We're there.
No,
we're there.
No,
It's
no,
already,
we're not.
Can we rescue it from a 12? Pull it back. Pull it back. Pull it back,
man.
Okay, so with that said, I mean, I don't want to go too deep into like history or anything. I just want to talk about like cool guitar parts, the guitar sections that you liked, the guitar that gets you motivated, and the guitar players that you dig. I want to ask the drummer and the punk guy because, you know, in classic rock that Tommy and I both enjoy, in the active rock that I'm doing, that I'm working on radio now, the southern rock stuff that I like, guitar is so much, it's the virtuosic thing. In punk, those guys aren't known as super great.
Yeah, my favorite guitar players aren't in punk rock.
Really?
One of my favorites is, well, and I guess it's funny this comes up today because I did not know there was a love connection between NoFX, one of the greatest punk bands of all time, and Avenged Sevenfold.
Okay.
But this morning, on the Crapper, actually.
Congratulations.
Specific, they had a song several years ago called Linoleum. It was one of their big hits.
Okay.
And it's been covered by hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of bands. So they re-recorded it with Avenged Sevenfold doing the instruments, and then, of course, NoFX doing the vocals.
Right.
And the whole music video is just quick little blasts of all of the bands that have covered Linoleum. And it's kind of like this homage to, all of the bands that have covered Linoleum.
Okay, that's sick.
It's very cool. In fact, I was going to send it to you, then I got distracted. So
okay.
I'll do that later. But the dude from Avenged Sevenfold, by far, one of the craziest guitar
Sinister
players.
Gates, he's an absolute monster.
Yeah.
He really is.
Jason Hook.
Jason Hook.
Another one. Crazy good guitar player.
Jason Hook from Five Finger Death Punch, and a very nice guy.
So I've heard.
Yeah.
We never met him, did we?
We did. Well,
We
Brock,
met
do you
Chris-
want to tell that story?
No, we met Chris Kale.
Okay, yeah, we met Jason Hook too.
Okay, good. Yeah, we did. That's right.
That's right. We were together.
Totally sober trip.
Brock, sober in Vegas.
Not buying it.
No. Yeah. So yeah, and if you had to pick like your favorite guitar riff, like the one that just gets your blood pumping when you hear it, you're ready to go.
Oh boy.
Because sometimes that's the thing about rock music. In pop music, the hook is always the vocal.
Probably Panama. I mean, it's not impressive. Like it's not blowing your mind, cool,
Right.
But it's one of the. I mean, that comes on. You know, you're listening to rock and roll.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
no question. Now let's dip a little bit into the classic rock end of things. And Tommy, you were right there when guitar rock was at its peak. I mean, I think honestly, 70s, 80s is when it absolutely hit the top rung as far as commercial ability.
Yeah.
What do you think your favorite is?
Are you talking riff?
Tell me your favorite guitar player first.
Oh, jeez, dude.
Yep, I know.
Okay. All right, I've thought about this, of course, obviously, and it's a toss-up between, and you know where I'm going to go first of all.
Sure.
Keith. Mm-hmm. You know,
Keith
the guy
Richards.
with these incredible riffs.
Yep.
Kind of a minimalistic tone.
Yep.
Almost sloppy, but it works.
It absolutely works, and plays in an open G tuning,
Yeah.
which is without getting too technical. For the most part, the guitar is an E instrument. We all tune to E. It's a standard tuning, is what they call it. But there are lots of different ways you can tune a guitar. And one of the things that Keith did early on was this open G tuning. Now, you can fake Stones stuff in a standard tuning, but to make it sound right, you have to play it in that open G.
Yeah.
And most guys, if they're playing in a cover band that has a Stones tune, they'll have one guitar that just sits in open G just for those tunes.
Absolutely, yeah. So there's Keith, but also Stevie Ray.
Stevie Ray.
Just kind of brought that blues rock back.
Yeah.
To the forefront,
absolutely.
and he did that at a time when I was just like, I don't know, maybe I was tired of the same old stuff.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden there's Stevie Ray. It's like,
Yeah.
just blows me away.
I would almost
Did
say
you just home improvement us?
I did.
was
sorry.
that a Tim the Toolman Taylor? That was.
congratulations. That was a pretty good job, neighbor. See, I'm covering my face. If you were watching this on YouTube, you could see that I was using my hand as the fence.
He's Wilson.
That's his name, Wilson.
Wilson, yeah.
I was
Don't get him confused with the volleyball.
Yeah, exactly. Different movie, different budget. Now, you bring up something super interesting too, because Keith's one of my heroes too. I'm currently studying in the church.
You're
of
really
Keith.
getting into Keith.
Really into Keith Richards. The thing about Keith is he plays guitar solos, but that's not what people know about him. When he'll do a lead, but I don't think of him as the big guitar hero when it comes to.
He's a
going
rhythm
off in the
guy.
middle of this. He's a rhythm guy, and he, like we talked during the drummer episode that people could barely hear. There are the great technical superstars, and then there's the song guys.
Mm-hmm.
Keith Richards is the epitome of the perfect song guitar player.
See, and if we're talking favorite song guitar guys,
Absolutely.
Mine would, and I hate to go there all
I know
the time,
where
but
you're
it's
going.
Billy Joe Armstrong.
Okay.
He's one of the greatest song guitar players, and he can pull off a solo here and there.
Sure.
But his solos, every solo that man writes is like an anthem. They're fairly simple.
Sure, but it serves
they're
the song.
Awesome, yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't have to be a big wheedly, million note guitar solo. Sometimes it can be 5 notes that everybody and whole notes that everybody in the crowd can sing along to when you hit them.
Mm-hmm.
That's as important, if not. It's probably more important overall to the product than the flying guitar solo in the middle. Now here's the sacrilege. As a guitar player, and I've played since I was 15 years old, so 32 years I've been a guitar player. That super technical shred stuff bores me to tears.
Really?
I just, okay, we get it. You're technical. Look, you can run through scales. We
Are you
get it.
suggesting there's no substance there, perhaps? It's technique over substance.
I mean, there are guys that have that kind of technique that can also play something interesting. Steve Vai comes to mind.
Right.
Uber technical, uber talented, but also
Beck.
knows
Jeff Beck.
is another guy, knows when to slow down and play me a melody to move me. Sometimes you could. Dave Gilmour. Gilmour can play almost anything from Pink Floyd, but he can level me with 3 notes and he respects the fact that it's not the note, it's the space between the notes that dictates what's important.
See, and as a non-guitar player, I love watching those guys, and that's kind of like what's the guy's name from Avenged Sevenfold?
Sinister Gates.
I mean, that's what that guy does.
Yeah, he's a super shredder,
and it's so it's finger banging excellent.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you say?
Oh my God!
Okay,
it's for you.
Okay, we're not going to mention the sponsor for at least 60 seconds.
Okay.
Okay, do you understand?
I'll count.
Don't even count. We'll be tempted, and you'll count too fast. We can't. Nope. What you just did is poison.
Why is it
podcast poison?
But it's. I mean, you called it a penis.
We're 42 seconds away. Just don't do anything else.
Okay. I'll stay silent for 39 seconds.
About the sponsor, you stay silent for about 34 seconds.
What if I make another finger bang joke?
60 seconds.
You got to start over now.
Got to start over again.
Yeah, he's gone.
Okay, good. I didn't notice the Hamburglar sneaking out.
Oh yeah, he was very quiet.
Okay, good.
He cartoon snuck out.
He
That's
really did. I
fantastic.
saw
Okay,
that.
well, I guess I'll have to watch on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yes.
.com. But the song Guitar Player for me is more interesting just because when the super shredder thing where everybody has to back up and make room for you to play a zillion notes, that feels like an athletic event. It's no longer what you're typing, it's how fast you're typing it. And for me, sometimes that loses the narrative. The guys that are so exciting to me are the Keith Richards. Think about this for a minute. Tony Iommi from Black Goddamn Sabbath. Now, that guy's guitar solos, I couldn't play a single one to you, but his riffs are legendary. The guy invented heavy metal with that's it. And Paranoid and Children of the Sea and Heaven and Hell and Fairies Wear Boots and NIB. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. You don't have to be a great super shredder to be an important, entertaining guitar player. And there are guys from bands that aren't even necessarily big, heavy guitar bands where the guitar player is still such a big deal. The one I'm thinking of, and this does kind of dip back into the 80s, the Cars. Ooh. How much great think about how much great, punky, hard-edged but new wave guitar is hidden in those great Journey records. I was going to go to Journey next. Cars records.
Benjamin Orr, man.
Oh man, no.
And Rick.
Bass player. Rick Ocasek was rhythm guitar player.
But
Benjamin Orr was bass player.
He was bass. That's
Elliot Easton is the lead guitar player, and he's way fun. He's weird, but he's fun. Kind of like Broc. Now, would you like to mention our sponsor?
A big thanks to Power Plant, car audio and accessories. Sorry, powerplantweb.com. I couldn't remember the slogan. I didn't want to blow it.
It was the silence. The silence kind of killed it.
You know what kills me on this is that we had to put you in sponsor timeout. You had a whole 60 seconds
And then I blew
plus to prep for it. And then
sorry, Blaine.
And then you know what this is? It's karma for you being such a dick to me last podcast.
Probably.
That's what this is. You want to do the jingle?
Power plant, power plant, power plant, power plant.
I threw in a little percussion.
That really has to
That was
stop.
awesome.
You think so?
There's nothing awesome about that. It's terrible.
I think it's fantastic. I bet you Blaine loves it.
Well, that's Blaine.
Matter of fact, watch this. The power plant jingle, probably Blaine approved. That was a moment of silence for our friends on YouTube. Okay, so I have to answer my own question. Your favorite guitar player.
Who is it?
Once again, I'm like you. I'm turning into a broken record. We might as well just admit to everybody who our favorite bands are. Stones, Green
Day.
Led Zeppelin, Jimmy Page. Jimmy Page, so much Jimmy Page, because I realized as I got to be an older guitar player, listening back to my stuff and then going back and listening to all of the Zeppelin again. Ooh, I might owe Jimmy Page a beer or two. I mean, just subliminally, so much of his style is in my playing and in my head and in the chords I pick and the chord voicings I choose.
But do you think that you're alone in that regard? I doubt it.
No.
I doubt it.
There's no way. I have said this a million times. Every day, a new 14-year-old hears Stairway to Heaven for the first time and goes, I want to do that. You know, so many new guitars are bought behind that, and kids chased off to the garage to go make noise. I just think as far as a song guitar player, he's another one that's just phenomenal. Jimmy's a sloppy player. His guitar solos are sloppy. They are messy. They're they work, but they're not. He's not Jeff Beck. He's not Steve Vai. He's not Eddie Van Halen. He's not Jimi Hendrix. But what he is the guy who wrote Kashmir, Stairway to Heaven, Rock and Roll, When the Levee Breaks. You know, it just goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
A great song guitar player that filled in all the holes. And another guy that I think is another great song guitar player, but gets sort of ignored in all of those monster players of the 70s, Alex Lifeson from Rush.
Yeah.
You always hear about Getty.
That was together.
You did.
Delicious.
Yeah.
Alex.
Well, Alex,
That got weird.
Hey, guys, I think these two are going to try to eat Alex Lifeson.
It's the plan after the podcast.
Like and subscribe.
With some fava beans.
But think about it. The drummer and the bass player for Rush always get all the attention. Neil Peart was obviously Neil Peart. And Geddy Lee plays keyboards.
I've always said Peart.
Yeah, I think it's Peart.
Feel like an idiot.
No, well, I might be wrong, too. Maybe somebody...
I've heard it both ways.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know which way it is.
Yeah, I don't know which way Neil went.
Hey.
Power plant!
Power plant.
Now we have another timeout. Timeout.
But for all of the great drumming and all of the great songs and the great vocal hooks, there's also the riff to Red Barchetta or the clean guitar on Time Stands Still. These kind of things. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I just played Time Stands Still the other day.
So much great playing, and another guy that knew when to just fit into the song, into the pocket, and let the song happen, as opposed to stepping out front. That doesn't mean that the guys that step up front are bad. Eddie Van Halen, a great song guitar player. He really was. And he wrote most of the songs, wrote the music for most of the songs anyway, with his brother, but for the most part, it was him. But when it was time for him to stand out, nobody really stood out better than Eddie did in his time, for sure. And then we go into the 90s.
And now his giant son is top 10.
What an enormous man.
He's a really big guy.
He really is big. He really is big. Wolfgang Van Halen set to eat the music industry. Run, music industry! Run! It's like the Stay Puft Marshmallow. They stomp it through Los Angeles. First, I'm going to eat the Capitol building. Then I'm going to eat Sound City. I'm going to make you proud, Papa.
Oh, my God.
Oh,
Poor Alex.
What did we just do?
I am a son of a bitch.
We're all going to get our asses kicked in Carmeland for that.
And then we're going to get eaten by Wolfgang Van Halen. I'm telling you, he's going to go through us quick. He's going to save you for dessert, my man.
Tasty. Very hungry.
He's so hungry.
So hungry.
So hungry. How big a fella are you? Big enough. Why am I doing this? I'm fat shaming Wolfgang Van Halen.
That's exactly what just happened.
You remember last week when you talked about what a dick I am?
Yeah.
You're right.
Well, I know.
Because I'm not stopping. I just keep going. It's terrible.
I'm not one who should be making fat jokes, but I will continue for as long as you do. We're enablers.
We really are.
There you go.
We really are. You know what? If you wanted to have high quality audio in your car, you know who could enable you? Power plant.
Not Wolf.
Wow. He would eat the sound system.
Are those 6x9s?
Your pickup sounds delicious.
Never had a subwoofer like that. Delicious.
Do you think when he goes through a buffet, it makes Pac-Man noises? When he first walks in the door at Golden Corral, you can hear diddly 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 waka waka waka.
He's intercepted
That was good.
by one of the buffet cater. It's like hitting a what were those things called?
The ghosts.
The ghosts.
Yeah, all that was left was a paper hat and a half pan of ribs. Oh, God. Boy, we sure love guitar players.
Especially that one.
We just, you know what? I've discovered, I think...
We loved him out of a defense mechanism.
So what...
No, seriously, you're the best.
How many episodes has it been since 18? 19, 20, 21. Wow, we only went 3. I thought it might be the curse of 6s. Remember, I mentioned that it might be 6s, but no, this time we went 3 podcasts before we looked at the topic and went, well, that's fun, but let's make fun of Wolfgang Van
Fun of a fat guy who just lost his father, who's an icon. We're great people.
So, you're diabetic and your dad's dead. Sounds fun to me.
Tell us what happens when you go to the buffet.
Oh, man. It's not going to get any better from here. You know it's not. At this point, it's broken. Ladies and gentlemen, we broke the podcast again, and you were along for the ride, and nobody stepped in to stop us. We had a Muppet invade the show.
We did.
It was an insurrection. We abused Wolfgang Van Halen. Broc didn't fart at all.
I've been working on one.
We referred to you as the old guy, which is just terrible.
It never has happened before.
Never.
I'm sure that we've made our sponsor, Power Plant on Kimberly Road in Twin Falls, very happy. What's that website again?
Online at powerplantweb.com.
Blaine, we're sorry.
And look out for Wolfgang Van Halen.
And because from what I understand,
You see him coming, he's not there for installations.
he's coming to see you, and he's got 2 cans of chili with him. So, Blaine, run! You're going to be Wolfgang Nachos! Run, Blaine! Run!
Packs around a Costco-sized case of cheese spray.
Okay, we're the worst people in the world. I bet we don't get invited to anything by Wolfgang's label.
I would like to inquire about your CD players. Sure, why is that can of Easy Cheese in your holster? What's happening?
That was episode 21 of Rock. I think so. That was episode 21 of Rock and Roll, the podcast. If you had fun with this, please share it with a friend, share it with an enemy, share it with somebody. Please don't share it with Wolfgang Van Halen.
Don't tell Wolfgang.
Wolfie hungry, gonna eat podcast. So mean and delicious.
He's become a beast.
We've turned him into a monster. He's probably not a monster. He's Valerie's little boy.
Not so little anymore.
Tune in next week and we'll probably be assholes again. We hope you enjoy it. My name's Dr. Nick. That's Broc Johnson. That's Tommy Nelson. Peace, love, and rock and roll. We're out of here. Thank God.